Episode 28 of the Cup of Mets podcast is a happy one here on September 30th. The New York Mets are officially in the playoffs. They clinched their spot earlier this afternoon against the Atlanta Braves. So sweet it was. But before we dive into all of that, remember to give us a follow on Instagram, YouTube, and X. We are at Cup of Mets. Subscribe to the podcast, whether it be on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Visit cupofmets.com for all your latest merch. Download that SeatGeek app, punch in code Cup of Mets at first purchase to get $20 off. And last but not least, head over to Smackin' Sunflower Seeds, punch in code Ian05405 to get 10% off of those beautiful, amazing Smackin' Sunflower Seeds. Robert, I think I honestly can't recall. I'm not going to go back, but I think this is our first clinching episode. We're missing Matt, unfortunately. But what a fucking day, dude.
Yeah, no, definitely. What a day indeed. For those that don't know, obviously me and Ian work in a school district, but I was rushing over from my school to my house where Ian was watching the game one of the doubleheader today. Listen, 2024 has been nothing but resilient, as again, as everyone would like to say. I think that's a good word to describe this season is resiliency. Mets found another way to get it done, man, and in a fashion indeed. But I'm just happy the Mets are playing meaningful baseball, and especially in October now since we clinched.
Obviously, everybody's on here to talk Mets, but I just want to give a little bit more backstory because it was funny. Rob works in a different school within the same school district, and he gets off an hour after I do.
Yeah,
So he gave me his garage code and he's like, go in because he lived closer to the school than I do. And
correct.
I'm there. I don't know if anybody's home. I'm downstairs. The Mets are blanked by Spencer Schwellenbach for the first seven. We're thinking that we're going to go to game two here, which we're watching. The Mets are losing. We'll touch upon that. But, I'm screaming and yelling as the Mets are mounting their comeback in the eighth inning. And, Rob gets home and he literally walks through the garage door, which is where I was sitting in the basement. And we literally just jump into each other's arms. It was when the Mets put up the sixth spot in the eighth inning. It was wild. Obviously, the Braves ended up coming back, and then the Mets had to come back again. But such a roller coaster of emotions from the entirety of the day. Like, I don't know about you, but I felt drained after that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, again, like you said, a roller coaster of emotions. It feels like 2024 has been that throughout the whole baseball season this year. Just a roller coaster of emotions. And, usually I wouldn't say 5 years ago, but again, just being a Mets fan, obviously this wouldn't work out in our favor, in the past years. And again, the fact that again the 2024 Mets just find another way to win it. It's great to see. It's awesome to see. It's relieving. I would say that's a great word to describe it is relieving. But again, the Mets just find another way this year to, make it happen. So it's just very fun to see. It's very relieving to see, as I repeated it for the fourth time. But just as a fan who's been through it throughout his 28 years of life, it's just fun to see. It's very what's the word? Again, like just like happiness in the air, to be honest. Because even though we lose game, if we lose game two, it doesn't matter. The Mets are playing October baseball, and that's all we wanted, Mets fans. I know that's all I wanted, but I can't
11,
speak for the podcast. But
bro, 11 games under 500
yep, yep.
earlier on in the season.
Hmm.
Like, and we're talking right before June.
Hmm.
And the boys all summer, that June and the July stretch, they kept their head above water in August, did what they had to do. There were a little lulls, same thing in September, but they found a way to do it. And I don't know about you, Rob, but I heard Howie Rose say it. You and I were popping champagne, so we didn't get to really listen to what Gary Cohen had to say afterwards.
Hmm.
But Howie Rose said it. That was arguably one of, if not the greatest game in Mets history, one of them. And in my fanhood, right, I'm 29. All those amazing games in 99 and 2000, I was too young to perceive that, right? Being 4 and 5 years old.
Yeah, yeah.
So just thinking of all the games, there have been so many incredible ones throughout the '06 season. And, even I dare I say it, '07 and '08, right? And you had the no hitter and this and that and the third. But today, being that it was the final day when no other teams are playing, I think today was
Yeah.
the greatest game I had ever watched.
As a Met fan.
As a dude, my
It's a
heart
bold
was,
statement.
yeah, bro, my heart was palpitating from the get-go. I mean, obviously when everyone's listening to this, you're going to know what's happened, but the Braves went up early, 2-0 in the bottom of the third. Tyler McGill pitched great. Okay. He was left out there in the sixth. I disagreed with that. Thought that in the fifth, he looked like the Braves maybe were catching on to him a bit, and his velocity kind of dipped a little bit, and it kind of seemed as if maybe he put more effort in the beginning of the game. I thought they should have taken him out since 2 runs looked like a lot for the Mets to come back against Spencer Schwellenbach. Ramon Laureano hit a home run solo shot in the bottom of the sixth off McGill. That was his exit. Then in the top of the eighth, I'm just giving the scoring summaries, right? Francisco Alvarez doubled after a leadoff double by Tyrone Taylor. Again, what a table setter Tyrone Taylor has become. Dude, that was an 11 pitch at bat, and the guy rips a double
Yeah.
to lead off the inning.
Hmm.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, and that's speaking offensively. Tyron Taylor has been so good overall, especially David Stearns talks about defensive run save, DSR. Tyrone Taylor's been on top of that list. Whether it's his play in the corner outfield positions or just manning down center field, Tyrone Taylor has been the key cog, as Ian loves to say, in this Mets 2024 campaign. Not just this week, not just the month. It's been the whole 2024 campaign. And just shades of Juan Lagares, but with a better bat, to be honest with you. And Tyrone has really soaked the moment. He's really took advantage of his opportunities. Another David Stearns pickup that's really like you question like 4 or 5 months ago, like who is this guy? What is this guy meant for this team? No, he's really done it in the course of the 2024 season. Tyron Taylor, you know, people say fourth, fifth outfielder. I see him as a 3A or 3B, like a guy that could be out there every second, third day, whether defensively or offensively. And yeah, like you said, he started that inning. Alvarez hit a double to drive him in. Then Mendoza doing what he does best in terms of, his managerial decisions, situational. He pinch hits Marte for Bader, who's been struggling. Marte gets a single. Lindor, the MVP he is, drives him in, makes it 3-2. And then Iglesias, man, the best hitter with runners in scoring position on the team, and he hasn't even played a full season, whether with no outs or 2 outs. And, this team has just been magical. I've said it all year. I've said it all second half. And again, just a gutsy win, man. Like just a nice win to go into tomorrow, knowing that you'll be playing for a World Series championship.
And speaking of that, before we continue, it appears that the Mets will be playing the Milwaukee Brewers beginning tomorrow night, as the Atlanta Braves have just taken the second leg of the doubleheader. They clinch a playoff berth as well. So I don't know if this is a first, but both the Mets and the Braves will be popping champagne within the same stadium tonight. Very odd. I've never
Very
seen that
odd.
in my life, and
Yep.
I would love to know if that's the first time. But the
Thanks,
Braves go
Hurricane. What is it? Hurricane Helene?
Hurricane
Helen?
Helene. Yeah,
Yep.
Hurricane
Yep.
Helene wreaked havoc on the southern part of the United States and also on the Mets games. But
Hmm.
nonetheless, both teams now are in, and the Arizona Diamondbacks go home. So it'll be the Braves and Padres beginning tomorrow night, and the Mets and Brewers beginning tomorrow night in the wild card round. So should be good. The Mets head back to Milwaukee. I will note it's going to be interesting for the Braves moving forward. And we don't need to dive into this until we do our little playoff preview, but Chris Sale was supposed to start this second leg of the doubleheader. He had back spasms and he had been feeling discomfort in his previous start. We don't really know the extent of that. So, being that they had 2 games today, had to throw Schwellenbach. Sale might not be available for the division series. They might be in a little bit of trouble there against a hot Padres team, but nonetheless, Braves are in, Mets are in as well. So, on to Milwaukee. Following Alvarez's double though, right? Francisco Lindor. I can't recall last episode if Lindor had returned or not, but Francisco Lindor returned in absolute fashion, made a big impact in the Mets series finale victory in Milwaukee over the weekend, which really helped their cause, coming into today. But Lindor RBI single ripped it to center. Francisco Alvarez scored. Then Jose Iglesias, as you mentioned, just so clutch, ripped the single to left field. Marte scored, and then Mark Vientos sacrifice fly, and then Brandon Nimmo pimps a shot. I've never seen Brandon Nimmo watch a home run in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. And that was one thing that again, like just one of those moments where again, and he didn't really what's the word? He wasn't really Brandon Nimmo wasn't really feeling it throughout the game. He was struggling against Schwellenbach. Struck out a handful of times or two, three
Everybody was,
times.
yeah.
Yep, but he came up when it really mattered and to see Brandon just pimp one like that and Brandon how he hits a home run, he's halfway to second base before the ball even goes over the fence. But
Yeah.
to see Brandon just pimp that one and kind of stare it and guys like him, Pete Alonso even and even Lindor, guys that have been around the last 4 or 5 years, handful of years, they deserve this, man. 2022, not to mention negative times, but we did make the playoffs, but it's not what we wanted. Obviously, we were in the division lead majority of the year, and then they blew the series against the Braves. Steve Gales reported that they were very tight this year, kind of the same tightness in terms of like feeling nervous and just winning one game and you're in this and that. They overcame it. I'm very happy for those guys like Nimmo. I know McNeil's not playing, but even a guy like Jeff McNeil, Alvarez, Alonso, guys that have been around the organization for so long, they deserve this. Very much we needed win. I'm glad they did it the first game though, instead of the second game, because me and you as
Ooh,
passionate fans, we wouldn't be here if they won the first game. Obviously.
no, no.
So so I'm glad they could do it, and the fashion that they did it. I told you at the end of the game, it's a Mets classic. I think 5 years from now, when we're looking back at this, it's a Mets classic. So
And who
very
knows,
happy for the boys in blue.
especially if they go far, this game
Definitely,
could really
exactly,
be something that we look back
exactly,
on,
exactly.
when even when we're fathers.
Yeah.
Right. So then you head to the bottom of the eighth. Things got a little dicey. Jared Kelenic singled. I can't believe they're even calling it. I mean, it definitely was a single, but he ripped the ball down the right field line. Edwin Diaz did not cover first base. He was brought in for a 5-out save, failed to do so. He did not cover first base, which allowed Eli White to score. Didn't even know who Eli White was until today. So learned a new player today, but he scored, made it 6-4. Then Ozzy Albies doubled off the left field wall. Edwin Diaz looked really miserable today, outside of when he came back in for the ninth. But Ozzy Albies wreaked havoc, ripped in 3-run RBI double to left field. All 3 runs scored. And at that point, that's kind of what I'm talking about, like the
Yeah.
emotions, right? I don't know
Yep.
the win probability for the Mets at that point, but said that being down 7-6, I looked at, I mean, I don't really, do we say anything? I feel like I blacked out.
Yeah, you said this one's on Mendoza, and I don't mean to
Well,
call you out, but they showed a stat before the inning started that Edwin Diaz had a 4.77 ERA back-to-back days pitching. Again, yesterday was a questionable move by Mendoza, throwing Edwin Diaz in there 5-0 against the Brewers in a non-safe situation. He ended up throwing 26 pitches. Not really looking good when you throw him in there for a 5-out save after throwing 26 pitches, especially going from Milwaukee to Atlanta. And obviously it showed. He couldn't really find the strike zone, didn't get ahead of batters, walked a couple guys, gave up bloop hits, and then eventually a bloop and a blast. The Mets are down by 1 run when being up by 6-3. Again, I see where you're coming from when you blame Mendoza. I totally agree. When he should not have been used yesterday. I thought Ottavino could be trusted enough to get us through a 5-0 lead, especially just getting 3 outs in the ninth. But listen, this is playoff baseball. When you got to use your big guns, no matter what the situation, you got to use them, and they got to find a way. Edwin Diaz didn't have it in the eighth, but the Mets are that good and resilient this year in 2024 to make a win happen like this. And again, we kind of looked at each other when the ninth inning started, the bottom of the ninth inning started, when Edwin Diaz was out there. We thought Stanek was going to be that guy that shuts it down, considering he was warming up in the bullpen. But Diaz ended up getting the ninth inning. Um, you know, got the first out off one pitch. I thought Olsen was an idiot for swinging at the first pitch and getting the first out. He should have
Oh
probably
yeah,
worked the count. Gave it
absolutely.
did us a favor there, but Eli White ended up getting the second. And then when Diaz did his job, man, he bared down, and I know he didn't get the save, but he got a win, and the Mets won. So we're playing playoff baseball, and that's all we can ask. I know it
Absolutely.
was a heart attack and a half, but
Oh my gosh.
a win's a win.
I would have loved to have like a blood pressure type thing going on during that moment. I feel like my heart was racing in all different directions, and I can't wait. The Mets just popped champagne. I'm watching it now. TV's on mute. Looked like Carlos Mendoza gave a nice little chat to the boys, nice little speech. But no, today was so great, even though they lost the second half. And you know what? What was really awesome was obviously, we noted that the Braves took the lead. The Mets ended up coming back top nine. Edwin Diaz shut it down, but Lindor ended up hitting that home run to center field. Lindor was emotional after the game before he
Definitely.
before he got within the doggy pile. He kind of crouched down near second base, and earlier on in the game, Steve Gelbs reported that it looked like Lindor kind of cornered himself in the dugout and was talking to God and just thanking him due to everything that he kind of has gone through, and then kind of went back and celebrated with the guys. But how fitting was it that Lindor not only hit the go-ahead home run, but then ended up receiving the final out on the ground ball hit by Travis d'Arnaud? It was just too fitting.
No, definitely very fitting. I mean, the type of year Lindor has had, he's really carried this team. I hate to say carried because again, it's a team effort. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint, but Lindor has put up MVP type numbers. And again, when we were down 7-6 and Marte got that clutch one out hit in the bottom of the ninth inning, Lindor made it happen. And the only reason why we won is because of Francisco Lindor. So again, very fitting in terms of what you said. The last guy to make the out is the guy that kind of won us the game. Well deserved, man. Especially a guy that came off a back injury, missing 6, 7 or 8 games in a row. A hurricane happens, you miss 2 days, try to come back, play shortstop. Then the next day you're a DH. Obviously, the back was an ailing situation, but at the end of the day, he made it happen. He's the reason why the Mets are where they're at. Couldn't be more happy for a guy like Francisco Lindor.
Truly, the Mets would not be anywhere without him. And I think, especially after today, I feel like Steve Cohen, when Lindor crossed home plate, he was sitting right on the field. I feel like he should have hopped over onto the field and just slapped the C right on his chest then and there. That man
Yep.
is the captain of the New York Mets. He finishes the season playing in 152 games. So you kind of hit it on the head, missed around 9 games. Ends the season 618 official at bats, hitting to the tune of a 273 average with a 344 on base percentage, slugged 500, wound up with an OPS of 844, which is the third highest of his career, the highest as a New York Met. He ended up hitting 33 home runs with 91 RBIs and 29 stolen bases. And it's crazy because you can see even yesterday and earlier today, his back was still bothering him. And it's something that he's going to have to deal with moving forward. But the fact that he was able to yesterday in a must win game in Milwaukee steal 2 bags, like came out of nowhere, stole 2 bags. Like he is the epitome of an MVP. I know
Yep.
Shohei Ohtani's going to win it, but Lindor truly, when you talk about impact on a team, the Mets are nowhere without Francisco Lindor.
Yeah, and again, I think Gary Cohen said it best after today's game one victory. He said he might not be the MVP of the league, but he's definitely an MVP of the New York Mets, and that's a cold hard fact. you mentioned the two stolen bases yesterday. He also hit a home run to kind of, strengthen the lead against the Brewers on Sunday, and then obviously hit the clutch home run today. So if he's not the MVP of the league, he's definitely the MVP of the New York Mets. He's the reason why we are where we are. And again, when the Mets decide to kind of revolve around him, not only revolve around him, but obviously revolve the team and make us better for the long run. But you got to consider Francisco Lindor in the conversation every time you sign a free agent or make a trade. How again, he's just made this team so much better than what it is, or than what it was, or than what people said that we were. So again, Francisco Lindor, nothing but good things to say about him. Again, and if he's not second place or even a couple first place votes away from MVP, then I guess we need a new committee in the MLB.
Absolutely. And I also I'm going to admit this, okay? And it's not just this season and the impact that he's had over the last three. Even during his first year that he struggled, you could see that he was fighting through things and he really showed his humility and who he was as a human being. Really such a likable individual, very likable player. But he is, and you know me, my favorite player of all time is
Hmm. Carlos Beltran.
Lindor's creeping up on him.
Yep, yep. And
Lindor's
they're both
creeping
Puerto
up on
Ricans,
him.
so
And
yeah,
Lindor's creeping up on him, and I think that this goes into and we're not going to talk about the winter obviously because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're right in the thick of things, baby. But this is why I am very intrigued, and I think that it's a good idea for the Mets to invest in Juan Soto because you spoke about when the Mets acquired Francisco Lindor, you know they acquired him at age 26, right? And they signed him to that 10-year deal. So the Mets have him until age 36, but he had one of his best years here at 30, 4 years into his contract. So Juan Soto, who's someone that's 26 years old, I think that that's just the age that you want to sign players. Obviously, they have to get to the league earlier, but Lindor, just phenomenal. So happy for him and to see the emotion as well is really something. I really can't wait to watch all these interviews and listen to them because Mendoza, Stearns, they both had just emphatic interviews with Steve Gelbs, it appears like. The boys
Yeah.
are popping beers left and right and
And that's
going
the thing. They're
nuts.
coming off a game two loss. Like that's how you know the hard work paid off. Like obviously the main mission was just to get one win to clinch. So I'm happy for all of them.
Yeah, dude, Mendy, as soon as the game was over, Mendy looked over to the other dugout and then Red just ran down the dugout because he knew what was happening. He knew what was happening. And the boys just doused him with some champagne. This is gonna be good. I have a good feeling. I have a good feeling. But again, just what a way to cap off what has been just a crazy, crazy season from Gary Cohen said it from 0-5 to oh my God, right?
Yeah,
To Grimace to Glizzy Iggy, right? And
yeah.
the rally pimp and this, that, and the third.
Mhm.
They've done it. They've overcome it. Dude, just so, so wild.
Definitely.
So, obviously I wish Matt was here because we could get his take, right? But the field is set. And because it's the playoffs, if the Mets, yeah, listen, I'm knocking on wood left and right here, but the Mets do well against the Brewers, we'll be on here within the next couple of days. For all you know, we could be on here quite frequently over the next couple of days. I really don't know. 2022
Yeah.
we weren't as active, so now it's a different type of scheme. So again, wish Matt was here so we could get his take. But looking at the wild card round, we're just going to talk about the wild card round here. Tigers somehow made it. We're not getting into that, but they somehow made it. They're the 6th seed playing the Astros, the 3 seed. I have the Astros winning that. Who do you got?
Astros, yeah, as well. I think
Okay.
they're the better team. I know Detroit has gotten a little bit of magic as of late, and I respect the run they've been on, but I think experience matters, and I think Houston moves on.
I agree. I could see the Tigers maybe jumping out to a 1-0 lead, being that they
Yeah,
have
because they got
Scooble.
Scooble on the mound game one. Yeah,
Yeah, but you just look at, the way that the Astros are going to go about themselves. They have Framber
correct,
Valdez and Hunter Brown.
correct.
As
Yep.
you said, they have the
And
experience.
Javier.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Christian
Yep.
Javier.
Okay.
Yeah. They have arms. Um, the Royals and the Orioles. I feel like that's going to be an interesting series. Who do you got?
I also feel like that's going to be an interesting series, but at the end of the day, I think Baltimore comes out and they show the type of powerhouse they are. They obviously, they got Corbin Burns, manning that playoff rotation. So I think Baltimore goes out and advances to the next round.
I was about to say the Royals because I think Bobby Witt is going to start just, I mean, we saw it this year, right? But I'm going to say the Orioles as well, only because I think maybe Yankees Orioles we could revisit. I mean, obviously we've begun to get that 90s rivalry back between the Yankees and the Orioles, but a nice showdown with the Yankees and the ALDS would be nice. So I'll go with the Orioles as well, but I won't be surprised if the Royals win. I'm going to put you on the hot seat here.
Hmm.
Actually, we'll go the other series first. All right. Padres Braves to advance to face the Dodgers. Who do you got?
Listen, I'm gonna ride with a hot hand. I like San Diego. I mean, I think they have the pitching to compete with a injury riddled Atlanta Braves. And not for nothing, I'm not hating because I'm a Mets fan, but I think the Braves got lucky in terms of getting in and competing for a World Series. Obviously, a lot of injuries have derailed their 2024 season, but they found a way to make it. I just think this is the farthest they will make it. Considering San Diego has been very good as of late, the last 2 months of the season. They have the pitching, they have the offensive juggernaut to kind of make noise. So I'm gonna go with San Diego.
Yeah, I'm going to go with San Diego as well. I think you put it brilliantly there. I,
Thank you, thank you.
the Braves.
I appreciate that. I'm a couple beers deep. I'm not gonna lie to you, but
Hey, there we go.
yeah,
I haven't even started.
celebrating.
Yeah, listen, I haven't even started outside of the champagne we popped earlier.
Yep,
But
yep,
but
yep,
listen, but listen, I think that the Braves kind of when you look at the fact that Acuna's out for the year, Austin Riley's out for the year, Spencer Strider's been out for the year. Now Chris Sale's dealing with an injury. Their
yep.
bullpen also, I mean, it's not just against the Mets, but over the last several weeks, their bullpen has looked leaky as well. I think the Padres just being as hot as they have been, I think that they'll overcome the Braves and take them and face the Dodgers in the NLDS. Now on obviously to the interesting one here. And the series starts tomorrow. Therefore, we have to make predictions right now. Maybe we'll put out a graphic to put out Maddie's predictions as well, so he's not left out
Yeah.
here. TBD, check Instagram on that. But
Yep.
all right, Rob. So it's looking like Sevy will go tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
I'm assuming against Freddie Peralta.
Damn, they're all going live. The Mets are all going live right now.
Are they?
Budo and Severino. Oh,
Hey. Yeah, yo, you got to earn the burn, baby. You got to earn the burn. Take those goggles off. Take those goggles off, baby. I can't hear what he's saying.
that's sick. That's sick. Hey, Octubre.
Hey, going to
Reed
Reed Garrett
Garrett.
over there. Yeah. Bullpen squad.
So we got Jose Budo live right now.
Oh,
Oh,
Sevy.
let's
Oh,
go. The whole pitching staff. I
Oscar
love it.
Brazo bomb back there. Hey.
Yep, yep, yep. And a little
He-
Manaya.
He's like, thank God you got me out of Miami. Um, yeah, I'm
Wow.
assuming that it's going to be a combination of Freddie Peralta tomorrow, maybe Tobias Myers, the rookie, and Frankie Montes. Maybe Aaron Savali gets a start. I don't really know. But for the Mets, I would assume again it'll be Severino tomorrow,
Manaya.
Manaya, and then
And
Peterson,
Quintana.
a Quintana or a
Yeah, yeah,
Peterson. So let's
yeah.
throw you on the hot spot, Rob. You go first. Mets or Brewers? Who do you got?
Nah, listen, man. I know I probably sound biased saying this, but I really think the Mets get it done. Not they don't sweep, but I think the Mets get it done in three. I think they pull it out. Brewers might win tomorrow, but I think the Mets make it two in a row to advance to the NLDS against the Phillies.
I'm in full agreement. Trying not to be biased here as well. I just think that when the Mets start to get on a little bit of a roll, you could tell tonight watching the game, even the reactions afterwards. You saw Lindor and Tyrone Taylor smile towards the field. Not that they were happy that they lost the game. Obviously, they would have loved for their rivals to go home, but you could tell that they were just much more relaxed since all the traveling, they just wanted to chill out, right? I think that they're going to ride this momentum, act like tonight didn't even happen, go into Milwaukee. Again, I agree with you. Not necessarily saying that they're going to sweep, but I think that they're going to get it done. I like the Mets pitching. I think Sevy's going to come up big. I think Manaya is going to benefit against a Brewers team that struggles against left-handers. And then obviously, if you have a Peterson go, he just took care of them yesterday when he was brilliant. So I
Yep.
think that that would set up such dramatics to be Mets
Yeah, right.
Phillies. And so we're in full agreement here. It would be then the Astros and Guardians, that Orioles and the Yankees in the ALDS, and then in the NLDS it would be Mets versus Phillies and the Padres versus the Dodgers. I like that. That has
Mhm.
rivalries written all over it.
Yep.
Unreal.
No, definitely. Again, not to say that the Mets are going to make a run, but this is kind of the side of the bracket, quote unquote. I'd like to say the Mets would want to be on, because a team that's kind of had our number in the Brewers throughout the regular season, maybe the Mets kind of sneak up on them. And then, again, the Mets have played the Phillies fairly well this year. So, you know, maybe a little run in the making.
Hey, 2015,
Yep.
the Mets were swept in both series against the Chicago Cubs, then went and faced them in the NLCS and swept them. In 1988,
Mhm.
the Mets won all their games against the Dodgers, and then the Dodgers
And then
obviously
yeah.
took them in the playoffs.
Yep.
So
You know
we've
how it
seen
goes, Ian. You know how it goes.
exactly, dude. It
Yep.
would make for such theatrics. But again, dude,
Definitely.
September 30th will go down as a day where the 2024 New York Mets, who were written off by, I'm going to say us, Rob. Okay. I'm just going to say us, and written off by so, and I know that you were the
Us as
most.
in you and Matt.
Bro, you wrote them off at some point too. Don't even. Come on now. You did. You did.
I
You
didn't say
really.
trade everybody though. I said, hey, it's a marathon.
All right, dude. But they started playing better once we made the trade everybody t-shirt. So
Yep.
things
Yep.
turned around. But again, today has been quite a day, and the New York Mets are on their way to the postseason. Rob, you got any final words of wisdom for the Cup of Mets faithful before the Mets kick off their wild card round against the Brewers tomorrow night?
Yeah, I hate to be negative, but I think Pete Rose just died.
No,
I'm not even lying.
no way.
Yeah,
Uh,
Pete Rose, rest in peace.
wow.
Pete Rose dies at 83.
Oh
That's crazy.
man.
Wow. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be so negative, and I know you asked me a question, but yeah, Pete Rose, rest in peace, age 83 years old. He
Can I
holds a
tell you
major league
something?
record for games, at bats, hits, and singles. RIP to a legend.
Can I tell you something?
What's up, man?
They've been talking about this for years. Obviously, people have been wanting Pete Rose to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, but he has not gotten that honor. And many have had the thought process that once Pete Rose would pass away, then Major League Baseball would induct him. And again, I don't want to necessarily say that that will occur, but it's just so sad because he really deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He recognized what he did was wrong. But when you look at some of the players who are in right now and who have been on the ballot and who are allowed to be on the ballot after using steroids and this and that and the third, and again, I understand now with gambling and the penalties are so deep, but I don't know, man. I rest in peace. Yeah, wow, that took
Yeah,
us
no, I'm sorry, Boz.
that
I
took a
mean, again,
turn.
obviously
Oh,
we didn't plan
shit.
this.
Yeah.
Um,
Jeez.
but
Okay.
again, RIP to a legend, Pete Rose. I was kind of talking about this with one of my friends at the bar the other day that, we're only getting older. We got to appreciate life and that guys that we idolize and grew up watching, especially in sports, They're either they're kind of they're coming and going. So again, rest in peace to a legend, the hit king Pete Rose died at 83 years old. A baseball legend in my eyes, to be completely honest with you, regardless of the gambling. Considering that it's legal now and that we all do it, but you
I
know,
see, but that
RIP to the hit king.
that's the thing, and I know that he gambled on his team, and I recognize that, but uh, there hasn't been any significant proof of the certain instances where that occurred and what he implicated. And again, I wish that he would have been inducted into the Hall of Fame
Me
while
too.
he was alive,
No, me too. Me
and
too. And it's
watch.
sad that it has to come to this.
I'm
Yeah, but
I'm I'm telling you, he's gonna get inducted now. Watch. I just have a gut
no,
feeling.
yeah, 100%. But
Not necessarily ASAP, but
yeah.
yeah. But on my end,
No, but again, like I see where you're coming
rest
from,
in
and
yeah.
it's the right thing to do, and on behalf of Major League Baseball. And again, I don't speak for them. I don't work for Major League Baseball, but yeah, that's the right thing to do in terms of MLB.
They just should have done it when
But
he was alive, bro.
no, yeah, I get it. I get it. But
Damn.
RIP to him and RIP to Dikembe Mutombo. I'm a basketball
Yeah.
guy. So I gotta show my homage to him. The finger wag. Yeah,
I was gonna
facts.
say that earlier.
Yeah. But to answer your question from before, again, I'm just happy the Mets made it. Unfortunately, we're here at September 30th, 2024, when a hit king has passed away, and the basketball shop legends shot blocker has passed away as well. But the Mets have clinched here in September 30th, 2024. We're here. We just gotta enjoy life. That's it, man.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, just ended on a somber note.
Yeah.
I'm not laughing. It's just kind of like,
No,
how,
yeah.
how
It's
did that
terrible timing.
happen?
I hate to say that. Right place, right time. This is the wrong place, right time. But
Yep.
yeah. I really do think the Mets though, they win 2 out of 3 against Milwaukee and then they advance. So to answer your
O-
questions.
Okay. And while times have been released tomorrow night, the Mets will play the Brewers on ESPN at 5:32. Strange timing, but 5:32 p.m. Eastern time. Again, that's on ESPN.
Interesting.
All right. Well, listen again. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. It's been quite an electric day in Mets land. Thank God the boys found a way to do it, because it would have been treacherous to see them not make it. Shades of '07 and '08. But
Yes,
again, we
sir.
don't have to worry about that. They made it. And now it's off to Milwaukee once more. And again, rest in peace to Pete Rose and Dikembe Mutombo on this September 30th. Again, remember to give us a follow on Instagram, YouTube, and X. We are at Cup of Mets. Subscribe to the podcast, whether it be on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Visit cupofmets.com for all the latest merch. I'm not sure if I mentioned that at the beginning. There may be an issue with the website right now, but we're going to get that fixed. So if there is a problem, just remember I said it and gave you a heads up beforehand. Um, be sure to download that SeatGeek app, punch in code Couple Mets at first purchase to get $20 off. And last but not least, head over to Smack and Sunflower Seeds, whether it be on Instagram, TikTok, or their website. Punch in code Ian05405 to get 10% off. And for Robert Venegas, I'm Ian Bosniak. Let's go, Mets. They're in the playoffs beginning tomorrow night. Let's do it.
Yes,
Take
sir.
care of the Brewers.
Yeah.
Let's go, Mets.
Yep.
Good night, everybody.